in commemoration of Workers' Day. My guest is Dr. Chris Ngige, Minister of Labor and Employment. Minister, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, in marking the 2018 May Day, organized labor has chosen the theme Role of Labor Movement in National Development, Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win. But even as we speak, the industrial space is replete with numerous challenges of employer-employee relations, and these are some of the issues we'll be taking up with the Minister on May Day. Minister, thank you for coming once again.
Bless you. Good.
Well, let's start off this discussion
Yes.
with a look at the industrial climate, talking about employer-employee relations generally. Let's situate it. What are we seeing in this climate at this time?
Well, thank you for this question, Cyril. Employer-employee relationship, that is actually what, in the main, is labor relations. Because you need an employer to have employees so that the investment, the industry, the business, whatever you're putting up can be meaningful. You can work it alone. You can't do it alone. That is the major aspect of the industry. Again, workers, who in labor parlance we also call employee, without the employer, they can be at work. They can get remunerations with which to look after their families, be that in terms of shelter, food, medical services, training of children, offspring. You can't do that unless you're gainfully employed. And you can't also do that unless you have what we call decent job. And by decent job, we mean a job where you go to, you are safe in the workplace, you have a decent workplace, an equable workplace, you have good remuneration, welfare packages to go with the remuneration, and that makes it a decent job. So, over time in Nigeria, the relationship has not been too cordial. And you know that in the main, the job of the unions, labor unions, is to protect their workers or their members. But I can also tell you that the framers of Nigerian Constitution have always tried to meet up with the tenets of ILO conventions, that's the International Labour Organization conventions. The ILO is the United Nations organ that has evolved over time, that looks after labor relations, employer on one side and employee. And when we go and try to define the employer in Nigeria, unlike in some other climes, the developed economies, in Nigeria, the government is the biggest employer because the public sector, the public service, takes a large chunk of the employer's compartment. Well, it didn't used to be like that. Post-independence and in the 70s. But when our economy started struggling, we started having problems with our infrastructure, those that make the industries to work, like electricity. We started having problems with our foreign exchange, vis-a-vis the local currency, and other minor challenges like neglect of agriculture, which used to be a major source of raw materials for the industries, be that in terms of palm oil, palm kernel, be that in terms of cotton, in terms of cocoa, in terms of rubber. So all these industries, cocoa-related industries for manufacture of rubber, tire, motor vehicle tires, motorcycle tires, bicycle tires, and the rest of them all, they died. Cocoa, the dairy industries, chocolate manufacturing industries, and the rest of them, again, were obliterated, so to say. Palm oil, palm kernel, same. So with that, the imbalance started deepening, with the employer trying to maximize the profit. The few employers we had, especially in the private sector, because under the employer category, I said, government takes the large chunk, then the private sector takes the other chunk.
All right. All right. Drawing from that, the public sector, the government, is the largest employer in today's Nigeria. And that would put this to you, Minister.
Yeah.
This administration to which you belong has had just about 3 years of its term in office. How well have you been able to resolve issues with the employees in the public sector?
Very good. The Muhammadu Buhari administration came into being on 29th May 2015, and some of us were called upon to come and serve in November as ministers of the Federal Republic to man government ministries and what some people call departments. And I can tell you, this government has done exceedingly well in terms of labor relations, vis-a-vis the situation we met on ground. When we came in, there was a plunge in the price of oil, which was hovering at about $80 a barrel, to $35 a barrel at 1.30. That means that your earning was cut, not even by half, not 50% devaluation of your prime product, which is oil. But like I said, it sunk to, dropped to $30 a barrel. We weren't also talking about earnings only. We met huge debts, arrears of unpaid allowances, arrears of even unpaid salaries in the public sector. So, government decided, the president first decided, that what we met on the table when we came was a plan by which the outgoing administration wanted to retrench workers and retrench them and pay them severance benefits. Mr. President said, no. I have always earned salaries all my life. I didn't do any other thing apart from farming, which is permitted by the Constitution that you can do side by side with your work in the public service. He was a member of the armed forces. He said, no. Let people stay on the job. We look for other ways to cushion the effects of this downward trend. And so we never retrenched. It was our policy, the policy of Muhammadu Buhari administration, not to retrench. Not only did we do that in the public service of the Federation, we also did it in the private sector. If you recollect, you remember when I was battling with the banks over spate of retrenchments. They declare billion naira profits. They want to retrench young boys and girls who are earning 100,000 a month, whereas the bank MD and executive directors, they have a booty of maybe 100 million each at the end of the year. when they are sharing dividends and all the other things. I said, no, you can't. They take holidays abroad, mid-year, 2 times, one mid-year, one Christmas, and each with their spouse, family. They have 5 cars. Some even have 7, 8. They have private jets. And I said, no. The aim of government is to secure and look after the welfare of their people. So go to those pegs up, cut down, and then maintain these people. Some of them has maneuvered and doing quite some retrenching, but in the main, we stop them. Same goes for the oil and gas industry. In the oil and gas, with the nosedive in prices of oil, there was no attraction for new investments. In fact, some closed shop and then decided to retrench. We said also no. MD, EDs, please shed off some of your financial weights and let's take it down. So this government tried to maintain a kind of equilibrium. It's kind of sanity in that area. We didn't stop at that. We had all sorts of allowances and salaries that were not paid in the states, and local governments, state governments were not paying salaries. Some owed up to 15 months, not their fault. They inherited it from their predecessors. Government arranged bailout funds to these states. Series of bailout funds. And in total, the records show that we have crossed about 1.3 trillion in terms of the bailout funds given to them. And we as federal government, we started also liquidating the huge arrears, promotion arrears, transfer allowances, 28 days in hotel, leave allowances, debt allowances, stockpiled by previous government, not us. For us, we are paying as and when due, as we speak.
Right.
And if you ask the unions, they will tell you. So we also opened up the space. We were in this country, like myself, when some military governments, in 84, 85, when we had problems with our economy, they said that there should be embargo on employment. We didn't do embargo on employment. As I speak to you today, our agencies are recruiting. They're even replacing people that are gone, by which I mean that the personnel cost that we met on ground is what we still have. In fact, in some cases, they have been expanded. Okay. Places like customs, immigration, civil defense, Nigerian police, army, Air Force, and they're recruiting.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, Minister, while all this has been done in the public sector, there still remains the issue of unemployment in Nigeria today. And as anyone would tell you, for every one person who is in employment, mostly in government employment, they have maybe 5, 6 others who are dependent. And therefore, the question of unemployment, this government started off saying it would create jobs. How well have you done that?
Well, I have gone that memory lane the last time to tell you what we suffered. We came in and inherited 1/3 of earnings. We came in, we are not God. We don't have any way to know the future. When we were coming in, we said we'll create jobs, millions, so to say. But we found ourselves in this position, and we're struggling even to maintain the status quo. However, we have tried to create jobs, but the jobs we have created are jobs that a lot of people don't like to go to. They are not jobs in the cities. We have created nearly 7 to 8 million new jobs in agriculture, blue-collar jobs. through farming. Still, different stages in farming requires hands. When you are sowing the seedling, when you are watering the seedling, when you are inspecting the seedling, when you are harvesting, when you are doing mild processing, like in rice production. The CBN records with us show that we have new farmers in the neighborhood of about 6 million, increasing on a daily basis. The anchor borrowers program of the CBN, because they lend money and you do the farming, from farm input, from the seedling, insecticide to everything, they cover the cost. When you harvest your rice, you sell the rice and you pay back. That is the process we have in Jigawa. That's the process we have in Kebbi. That's the process we have in Kano. That's the process we have in Ebonyi. That's the process that's coming into Anambra. And with the rice revolution and sorghum revolution, we have created new jobs. I don't want to go about the indirect, these are direct jobs, but there have been also some indirect jobs in the processing, like the rice milling places, the jute bag manufacturing for bagging the rice, the baggers of the rice, transporters. These are ancillary jobs that have been created. White-collar jobs, yes, few, but we have created them. And we have done also direct intervention, what we can call a stopgap measure with the Empower program. The Empower program is a program designed to take on young school leavers, youths, who cannot get job, like where you are now saying one person gets a job, 6 others are. Yes, those 6, we have asked them, go to the Empower Teach program, Empower Agri program, Empower Build program. In these programs, the first group of people are teachers. We have taken 200. We have also, that's 200,000, sorry. We have also taken another 50,000 for the Empower Build. Right now, they are starting to go for their training. So we have 250,000 already taken. We have introduced Empower Agric for people who will be agri superintendents, go into the agri farms, teach people new methods of farming, inspect what they are doing with fertilizer. Is it the real fertilizer that we are giving? Are they putting it well, the way it should be done? So with this Empower scheme, we are on 250,000. We are bringing on stream another 300,000 that have been processed. They're just waiting to go. We're waiting for the national budget to be passed so that we can access the money and then let them into the system. Equip them with the microchips and things like that for which they communicate with us. And each month, they receive 30,000 and then 5,000 naira for the equipment, 35,000. Some level 8 officers in state governments go home with about 32,000 after tax deductions. Yes. So level 6 people go home with about 25,000, 30,000. So you can see that government is trying. We intended to make that program a 1 million youth annual event. That is the intention of President Buhari when we started. But like I told you, you see what the economy did. So when people say that President Buhari said youths are lazy, he doesn't like youths, I laugh. This is a man who believes that every family should have a breadwinner. That if fathers train their children must be able to come back with something at the end of every month to look after their fathers. Some of them are pensioners. So it doesn't fly at all to say that President Buhari said youths are lazy. No. They are putting him out of context. He didn't even say it. If you look at the so-called interview, he didn't use the word lazy anywhere. He only gave an example of young people who say, oh, I'm from oil producing, I should be earning this sitting at home. He gave example of those who didn't go to school and who are doing Boko Haram up north. That's there, but they exist.
All right.
These people exist. So it's not the totality of Nigerian youth. No. We have so many programs for Nigerian youth. We have YIP, we have JIP, we have, they know it. They can go to Bank of Industry through the Ministry of Trade and access some credits.
Right.
Yeah, the credits are there for them to become entrepreneurs. So, in effect, what he's saying that people should learn to come out. If you don't get a white-collar job, you do the blue-collar job. And if you're a girl, if you don't get the white-collar job, you do the pink-collar job. The pink-collar jobs are there for women. Baking, learning some trades on how you can produce beads and the rest of them all. NDE is doing it. We give programs. Train people for 3 months. Train people for 6 months. Some for 12 months under the NDE program. And then give you what we call empowerment. Help you buy the equipment you use to set up yourself and become your own self-appointed wage earner. You do the work with your hands and you earn. Even in the Empower program, in collaboration with the NDE, we're going to train some people to be carpenters. Carpenters. Carpenters make money. If you hire a carpenter today, you won't get a carpenter that will charge you anything less than 7,000 or 10,000 for the day's work. Bricklayers, tile layers, POP layers. These are jobs that are there waiting to be picked. And Nigerians go into their bedroom and say, oh, I have no job, I have no job. They go and get Benin people, Ghanaians, people from Cotonou, people from Lomé, even people from as far as Senegal. They come here to do all these jobs and earn big money and send the money back as foreign exchange monthly to their dependents at home. We want our own children, our own Nigerians, our own brothers and sisters to come and use their hands and earn this money. That's what we're saying.
All right, Minister. Perhaps the most talked about issue in labor circles today is the question of a minimum wage.
Yes.
This has dragged on for a while. Yes, there's a tripartite committee. Yes, you have a deadline, if I might call it that, which you're working towards. And yes, the figure that is put forward by organized labor is 66,500. There have been arguments. First, let's even take it at the stage of how far this tripartite committee has gone.
The tripartite committee, National Tripartite Minimum Wage Committee, is actually a committee that is enunciated in the ILO principles of social dialogue and of minimum wage fixation, how you fix the minimum wage. The national minimum wage also is a sine qua non to labor relations as far as the ILO convention is concerned. The Nigerian Constitution, 1999, if you go there in second schedule and look at the exclusive list, exclusive legislative list of the Federation, you will see in item 34 that the issue of national minimum wage, labor relations, industrial arbitration, and other things that are related to labor are federal government concern. They fall under the ambit of federal government legislation. So what we're doing today, we're not reinventing the wheel. It's what have been there. The Constitution gives the federal government that power. And by the federal government, we mean the executive and the legislature. So the National Minimum Wage Committee is at work now. The last minimum wage was produced in 2011. The committee started in 2010, finished in 2011. President Jonathan signed the act fixing 18,000. But after fixing the 18,000, they did not apply other conditionalities and other imbuements that were in the 1982 Shagari Minimum Wage Act. Such an act usually, will define the number of workers and establishments you have before the law can apply to them. It's conspicuously missing here. So because it's conspicuously missing, 50 that was done before is now what is on. Some people feel that 50 is too large a number for any establishment, because if you do that, a lot of small businesses that employ 10 persons, 15 persons, 20, 30, they will pay whatever they want. They will tell you that the law doesn't apply to them. Therefore, the new law we are crafting now, as a committee, we're going to take care of that particular problem.
Right.
Secondly, the penalties done in 1982 with the Naira, the penalties are as low as 1,000. It's overtaken by events. We should be able to do something that is contemporaneous now with the economic situation. So, if we are going to do a penalty, a fine, with imprisonment, we can't talk anything about less than 10 million naira. So these are some of the suggestions. So you can see we are on. We have collected the memoranda from the different organizations, private sector, public sector, because in the public sector you have government. And in government we have state governments, local governments, and well, some parastatals. So they are coming, their memo is coming. We have also collected from the 2 labor centers we have in Nigeria today, the NLC and the TUC, Trade Union Congress and Nigerian Labour Congress. They are the ones proposing 66,500. We have some people who broke out from the NLC, called ULC. In such a situation, they are not registered.
Right.
So
technically
they
speaking,
made their own submission and said 96,500. Maybe they want to outmaneuver the NLC and the TUC combined figure of 66,500. We also have some people who have proposed 30,000. We have some people who proposed 25,000. The federal government proposal will come last. We have not proposed because our economic management team will do the proposal on behalf of the government.
What would that be based on, Minister, if I might ask? Because we're going to say, well, if we're proposing, if organized labor is proposing 66,500,
yes,
government might be thinking that, yes, this is what
we're not bound to do that. That is the collective social dialogue we're talking about.
But up till now, we have no inkling as to what the government is thinking.
This government knows about, they don't know about. We have our projection. The economic management team is putting together with the MBS and the productivity center and all other organs of wage fixing of the federal government. They will come, propose something, and defend it.
All right. Would the government, for instance, in arriving at that decision...
That's the federal government, I mean.
Yes, the federal government. Yeah. Would the federal government, in arriving at its own proposal, take into consideration the current situation of the Nigerian worker? Also, the current earnings of people in the political sphere and those in... Would they take that into consideration?
Why not?
Because if you look at the huge disparity, Minister...
Yes, I agree with you, but government will take all those into consideration. But shall I make you laugh? Those political appointees and those earning politically, that the labor unions say that their money is mind-boggling, what they're earning, vis-a-vis the people in public service or the workers. Those people are also agitating and asking for a review of their salary.
Really?
Yes. As a Minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria, my salary is about 300,000. Yes. When you put all my allowances, including housing and everything, I'm paid 942,000.
Right.
Housing. My housing is 4 million naira a year, broken down into 12 components and put into my salary.
Okay. So it's
my transport Same. My what again? My steward and cook.
And other allowances?
Yes, and other allowances.
Others
that makes it
well?
942.
None that are not captured. No, but it's interesting, Minister.
So
you talk about it.
So we are facing a situation which is normal in life.
Okay.
That situation is that no matter wherever you are today, you feel that there's a better position, there's a place to go to.
If we might just dwell a little longer on that, because since you brought up the subject, Minister, yes, as a minister, you've just told us what you earn.
Yes.
But, Minister, you are also a senator. You were a senator. And, of course, you recall the uproar that followed the disclosure of what senators earn. You earned that region as well, did you?
Senator Shehu Sani made the disclosure. I will try to discuss with him. He will come to this program, and Cyril, he will talk about that. I have finished my tenure as a senator, and I don't want to go there. I don't put God did not put I in my, here in my score for me to be looking back. I'm telling you about the present. I don't want to talk about my past as a senator. So let us leave it at that. Let us leave the sleeping dog to lie. But if I'm to talk a little bit about the remuneration in National Assembly, is the problem is with the categorization. Successive senior presidents have told them that. It's categorization. They personalize the money that is due to them. That money is due to the constituency. And in financial circles, if you are doing financial circle and budgeting, those funds are supposed to be labeled constituency fund. You assess them, and each time you assess them, you retire them. And it's not a law, you must finish it. So these are the things. That's why I say I don't want to discuss it.
All right, Minister. Let's
till the appropriate time.
Well, okay. Let's still talk about the minimum wage. At the May Day rally,
yes,
the Vice President, Professor Shimbaju, in talking about the minimum wage, gave some ray of hope to the workers that the process would be speeded up and that this tripartite committee should round up its work. Now, are you giving an assurance that the August deadline we're looking at is feasible and you might just conclude and round up?
I'm the deputy chairman of the committee, Mrs. Amma Pepo, former head of service, former minister, former clerk senate, very vast in government administration. She is senator, is chairman. We've done a work program, a work plan. And in the work plan, agreed to terminate the work of the committee by end of August. End of August connotes the end of the third quarter. And by September, you start the second quarter. So it's a good timetable. Mark you, our work is not final. We do our work, come up with our proposals, come up with the amendments we want on the law, formal law. We send it to the executive. The executive will now send it to the National Assembly as a bill. And National Assembly will do what we call repeal and replace. They will repeal the old law and put this one in situ. So, give or take, by our own thinking, we feel that by the last quarter, everything about it with the law that will guide it will be out from the furnace. You did ask about whether we shall accept what NLC and the proposal. It's neither here nor there. The state governors are there in the committee. We have one governor per zone. Governor Korocha is representing the Southeast Zone. Governor Reboshola is representing Southwest Zone. Governor Wike, Wike is representing South-South. Governor's Zone. In the north, we have Dan Kwambo representing Northeast. We have Governor Kebbi representing Northwest. And we have Governor Lalong of Plateau representing the North Central. They are, in totality, representing the Governors Forum. And the Governors Forum, a lot of them can pay the 18,000 as of today. A lot of them also cannot pay. A lot of them also have the ability to pay more than that.
Do you worry?
So the issue of national minimum wage is important we define it so that Nigerians can know. That is a baseline, is the minimum.
Right.
The minimum payment a worker should receive for his, that's remuneration for his work on a monthly basis. Below that, anything you do is subhuman.
Right, Minister.
So
yes.
you can pay more.
Okay.
If you have the wherewithal, Lagos can pay more.
Yeah,
we know it.
Yes, but
Rivers State can pay more. It's not in doubt. Akwa Ibom can pay more. You can compare them and Zafara, and you can compare the cost of living in Port Harcourt with that of the man in Kebbi. Same goes for the man in Osho.
Right, but does it worry you that many of the states still do not pay salaries, still do not pay their pensioners?
Yes, it worries me. It worries
because
me.
you might easily say, yes, the federal government, meets its obligations. But, Minister, your party is also in some of the states.
Everything will be put on the table for discussion. And we have started. The memo is coming. That they're pouring in. For example, the NLC, TUC said governors should cut down on their political appointees. The number, quantum of people. Some of the offices are unnecessary. I agree with that. When I was in Anambra State, I did my work with 12 commissioners. And I had 4 portfolios as governor. I managed the portfolio of lands. I managed the portfolio of science and technology. I managed the portfolio of commerce and industry. And one other portfolio. I managed them because I know the consequences of a bloated political
So that puts you at a vantage position. You have been in the